Hey, good morning, everybody. And let me tell you what we have going on today. Big news going around, the most fascinating news that needs to be shared at this moment. Good morning. Happy birthday, boy.
Stay away
It
from
is
me.
happy birthday. It's Rick's birthday today.
Sir
And
Rick, please.
Sir Rick's
Sir
birthday
Rick.
today.
Only my friends call me Rick. I want to make sure that we're clear on that. And if you're out there right now,
Happy
you can call me Rick.
birthday to
He just
you.
can't. He just can't. Thank you, sir. 52 years old. I'm excited, I guess, to be 52. It's another day, and I feel comfortable with saying my age. I get a little wiser as well, and it's hard to believe. For those of you that know me out there, you're saying, "My God, how much more wise can you get?"
Oh my goodness.
Drive safe, Dave. You know what? If you need some advice, come see me because it is my birthday. I was good with advice before. Now just think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a few more gray hairs to me. A lot of them because of you. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Most of my gray hair, my weight gain, also I'm going to put onto you as well.
Sure, not any of your own personal choices that you make. You're going to go ahead and once again cross-blame Drive Safe Dave into what you do wrong.
Hey, so big news yesterday, just spread across this country. And we can talk about a few things, but let's just dive into it. January 4th, we have the new mandate that says employees, right? Employers with greater than 100 must have that vaccination or drive safe.
Testing once a week. And basically that mandate will be into effect on the 4th. It will be enforced by OSHA, and it comes with hefty fines to the employer. Look, I mean, we all understand what's going on here. There's a big debate about what's going on. But to me, in reality, what's happened is it's the law. It's changed. And because it became law, to me, it is what it is. And you got to go get it done if you want to make sure that you fall within the mandate.
But let's slow down. It's not law yet, right? I mean, it's not. It's a mandate. I don't think it'd be a law. It's not a law. It's an OSHA. It's some kind of thing that he's putting in, but it's not a law, right? Producer, can you help me out? Is it officially a law? It's a mandate. It's not a law.
Okay, so you can be fined by a mandate and by a law.
I get it, but it's not a law. I think the law has to happen. Matter of fact, it can't go into law within like 180 days, or something has to go in place. I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill. You know, I think there's some truth to that. Producer?
So from what I can see here, a law and a mandate have the same power to be enforced. The only difference between the two is how they come to be. So obviously a law being passed by the Senate and House of Representatives, signed by a governor, whereas a mandate is made by a governor with power given to them by the legislature in a state of emergency.
Gotcha. So it's not quite the same thing. Yet the employers, I should say, we've got to follow it all the way through.
Correct.
Or face the fines. And the fines are heavy, Drive Safe Dave. We talked about that before the show. $13,000 up to $13,600 per violation.
Yep.
You know, and it tops out at $136,000, okay, per violation. And let's just hit some of the highlights real quick. So businesses with 100 or more workers must get proof of vaccination or require weekly testing.
And
okay, go.
And must wear face mask while at work if you are not vaccinated.
Yes, yeah, and I'm going to keep going through here. Sorry. They will cover more than 80 million workers is what this is going to do. You must produce a negative test at least weekly, and wear a mask in the workplace. That's part of it. Employers are not required to provide or pay for those tests. Fines, again, up to 13. It's OSHA will inspect, and they will inspect based on complaints or just regularly scheduled visits. It's going to be a mess out there. And we had a show yesterday. We talked yesterday afternoon to a lot of drivers out there with legitimate concerns because, producer, we talked about that because there are some exemptions even in this format right here with the larger employers. I say with employers greater than 100 is that, hey, if you work from home, you're not required. If you work outside primarily, you're not mandated either. And in our industry, Drive Safe Dave, and I think we hear about this, has this really been thought through in our industry with truck drivers driving in their trucks that have a bed in it that work primarily away from everybody majority of the day. How are they not this? And how can we not use this and take that and give an exemption to the trucking industry?
I know it was tried, and I know the trucking industry is trying to get the exemption done. It is not extended to trucking right now. I do know that there are several challenges in place, but I do in what's going on, and I'll tell you, this is going to be challenged. There is no doubt with it in my mind that this will be challenged across the board. But as it stands right now, there are executive powers that are applied, that are allowed by law, and those can be enforced. And I don't know exactly where this is going to lead, in all honesty. I will tell you on a personal note, now that it has become a mandate, and you look back at the numbers and you see it, and I just look at this, now that it has been mandated, for me personally, I'm tired of getting the call that somebody that I know has died from the disease. We have an opportunity here. 750,000 people in the United States have somewhat died from this disease, and about 749,000 of them died without a vaccination.
Okay, I get you, but that's not what this is about, though. We're not talking about the vaccination on its own right now. Drive Safe Dave, we're talking, how is it the right thing to do? Then I'm going to go this way. Why is it right for, if you have 100 or more, to be mandated, and if you don't have 100, you don't have to do it? Make sense of that to me.
Okay, I get there's some, I don't even know why they would even make, and why wouldn't it just apply to all employers?
Thank you.
I don't,
if you're going to do something like this, you do it to all.
Yeah.
And that's what this thing is. It's talking about those with greater than 100, and all we're doing on this is giving people with less than 100. I mean, are we encouraging the larger? If you have 101 employees,
fire two.
Get rid of two, fire two people. Is that what we're saying to do?
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm just asking for some clarity on that. But I will also say, you as a truck driver, in the trucking industry, you as anybody watching this show, you have your own responsibility in this. And if you don't like something, take the time to write your state representative.
Absolutely.
I took it yesterday. I wrote to our state representative locally yesterday, and I gave him my opinion and what I need him to do to make sure that he's speaking on behalf of our industry, because this industry, it can't afford to lose one person right now. This country cannot afford to have any slowdowns in productivity.
And I tell you, don't stop at your representative. Don't stop at your senator. Don't stop at your governor. Don't stop at anybody in the government that has the opportunity to change law, because I can tell you right now, because of the balance of power that we have in this country and the Constitution, the Senate and the House of Representatives can go in and change and make law and override anything that any one government, any one branch of government sets in place. And I can tell you right now, you have a voice. Use your voice like you've never used it before if you feel strongly about what's going on. Do it in a way which you've never done. Get online. And Rick, I congratulate you on your representative, but you have senators. You have everybody.
Amen.
You have everybody within your power, within your reach of this government today, right now, that will listen to what's going on. And if enough people stand up and say, hey.
No, I'm not saying if enough people. You've got to do it. You need to take the time today.
Correct.
Producer, put it back on there. You can find your state representative, your senator, the president, somebody out there to write a letter to, an email to, and voice your opinion
Correct.
on this. Ask them to make an exemption for this industry.
Correct.
For daggum sure, because again, you have watched us talk about the amount of freight, the problems in logistics.
Supply chain.
The supply chain is just jacked up. How can we take any more loss in productivity than what we already have? Drive Safe Dave, I'm going to encourage you the same way to write somebody today.
Absolutely.
To get it done. Voice your opinion. My goodness, don't just sit back and complain.
Nope.
You have to make your voice felt and heard out there. Producer, who do you have for us, sir?
Yeah, we got Edward Lester on the line. What do you got for us, sir?
Can you hear me?
Hey,
Hey, good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Talk to me.
All right, my question is they're trying to mandate this, right? Okay, and they're trying to hold employers responsible for us employees to get vaccinated. Okay, the ones that are already vaccinated, But what about the ones that are not vaccinated that are refusing to get, not get the vaccination?
Yeah, so Ed, if you can refuse to do that, now you have to go out and get the test, right? You have to go out and get
weekly.
Tested weekly to get that done. If you refuse to do that, Drive Safe Dave, I mean, I tell you, it's either the employer says, hey, you're worth $13,000 every time they do that, $136,000, or, it depends on the company. I would imagine there's separation that would have to happen. I mean, it's a law, and if you gotta enforce it. Or again, you as a driver, and here's the part that we just don't like. Why is it okay for you to go work somewhere else that doesn't mandate it? Or for you to, some companies, and we talked about that as well, are using the religious freedom to, or something like that to also avoid getting that done. I'm saying that doesn't make sense to me once again. What is right for one is right for all. And if we're going to make a mandate, have the courage to mandate for all, because it doesn't make any sense to encourage companies with 100 employees to get rid of folks to fall under the mandate.
Yeah,
and it doesn't give the right and it's not fair to a employee to lose that security that he or she has at a company. And in a trucking industry, that means you're with a company that maybe you built a life and a family around. And now you have to take a chance and either get a shot, get the vaccination, and if you don't want it, you don't have a choice now than to go work somewhere else. And it doesn't make any, that's a smaller company.
That's a smaller company,
Yes.
or because if you go out to work, and they're trying to reduce that number right now, so we don't know where that number is going to land by January 4th, in all honesty. We don't know where that truly is going to be. So, and I'll tell you, if you go work somewhere else, they're going to have the same mandate. I mean, if
they have 100 or more,
if they have 100
they
or more,
will have that. So again, I don't understand any of that. And that's, I mean, above all, that's my problem, is the fact that why is it okay to go work for somewhere else to ruin your life that you've built around? Some of you have been at a company for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And you know everybody around you. Now if you're going to stick strong to that, you have to make a choice.
Right.
Do I go work for a company that maybe is not going to get me home as much, maybe isn't as safe as the company I'm with, or maybe I just say, you know what, I am going to get my tested every week. I'm going to do that part. And now you're losing productivity. And we spoke about that yesterday, Drive Safe Dave. You now go get your appointment, you go get your test, and whatever that is, now somehow you've got to feel like you got to make those miles up, right? It puts another pressure on you, the driver out there, to possibly drive unsafe. And that is not what we want as well. In our industry that's so focused on safety, we've got to make sure that your minds are safe out there on the road. Producer, who do we have?
Yeah, we got Ira Zillis. What do you got for us, sir?
Good morning. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, sir. We hear you. Good morning to you.
I have a quick comment and then a question. And I joined late as you've already answered the question. I apologize in advance. My comment is, in reading the OSHA document on page 6, it sounds like they're not done. Because they talk about a stepwise approach for public comment on companies that are smaller than 100 employees. So I got a feeling there's a plan that actually cast another net and make this universal over time. But I agree with you, it doesn't make any sense to do this where, some people are okay and some people are not, when everything is equal, if that makes sense. My question is, and I know that there's a lot of decisions to be made and whatnot, but as I understand it, employers have a choice here. Do you believe that BCB is going to allow employees to be tested as part of their program, or that is just unreasonable?
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of issue here in what you're saying, Ira, but I understand. I think what you asked was what's the policy going to be specifically for BCB. I believe that's what you're asking. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Well, I know the policy's not established. There's a lot of work to be done, but I'm just kind of looking to see which way is the flag blowing right now.
Hey, producer, turn that one off there for a second. Hey, sorry about that. A lot of feedback. It just, I don't know. It sounds like
Blinkers.
Yeah, blinker was on or something. We couldn't hear a lot of what you're saying.
Hazards.
I will say this, hey, if, for Ira or for anybody out there, if you have a question on how your company's going to do that, and I don't know, Drive Safe, that seems like what you thought you heard on that, hey, make sure you email them and ask them that question right there. Email your company, your supervisor, your operations manager to get that, to get that. I don't think Drive Safe, Dave, I'll just speak, personally, I don't know if any companies yet have a policy on it. It just happened. I'm going to say they probably don't. It's too early. We don't know exactly where this is going to go. I'm going to say, again, I'm going to stress this, is that you need to, everybody, Ira, Drive Safe, Dave, myself, we need to continue to write people. We need to continue to write, to email our congressman, state representative, about what's going on here, about our thoughts, about our industry. And I'm going to say this, if you need some talking point, this industry, talking points, here we go. Open up any newspaper any day. Supply chain is a wreck. The containers are a wreck. We have equipment everywhere. Driver shortage already.
Correct.
And we spoke yesterday, and I do believe this, and it's real simple, right? For a lot of people, they said, well, just go get the shot. And, but it was real simple back when we went to electronic logs. Just run the logs. But a lot of people that fight it are that older area of the people that are on the verge of retiring that said, you know what, enough's enough. I ran paper logs. I don't need the electronic. I don't need the camera. Enough's enough. And this, in an industry that's an aging industry, in that age of about 57 years old is our average age in the industry. Drive Safe, Dave. We don't need to push them out. Is all I'm saying. We don't need to push them out. And this, for some, may be a point that say, you know what, enough's enough, and we lose more drivers in an industry that is already 80,000 short, according to the American Trucking Association.
Yeah, there's one thing, and you have two sides of the aisle, and you have two sides of the argument. One of them says it is absolutely about the shop, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a mandate across the board that seems unfair and uneven for all. And what we're trying to figure out here and trying to work our way through is an idea in a way in which we can figure out the best way to facilitate a change in our industry for the better, and however that may be. And if that means talking to your representative, talking to your governor, talking to your senator. Senators have a big play in this, believe it or not. They can quickly and easily hit their floor because there's only 100 of them, and they can quickly and easily hit the floor and make a change fast, no matter what the executive power has said.
So let's keep going here. If you're a trucking driver, right, I'm going to ask you to write your state representative, your congressman, your senator. Make the point to do that. If you're inside of an operations office somewhere, I'm going to ask you to do the exact same thing.
Correct.
If you're sitting and you're in the safety department, same thing. HR, same thing. If you're in a trucking logistics environment, as a matter of fact, if you're in any industry that maybe trucking relates to you, so you're shopping for a grocery store, you're shopping for goods, I'm going to ask the same thing of you. The aisles are already bare.
Correct.
I mean, we're stretched thin. We're not in the place to do that right now. First of all, in our industry. Secondly, Drive Safe, I tell you, to my heart, it bothers me the fact that if it's that important, it's all I'm going to say. If it's that important, then why isn't it for all? It doesn't make it. I struggle with that probably more than anything. I'll be honest with you.
And the only thing that I saw that bothered me the most about this whole argument and the reason trucking didn't get an exemption of some industries in this country that did not be completely as affected as other industries, other jobs, and other businesses, trucking stood out among others as one that facilitated a safer and much better environment than any of the others, because they did not have the same numbers and the same across the board as others because of their bubble, because of their emplacement, and because of their job relative to the dangers that we're talking about.
Yeah, and we can go on and on and on about this, and I do feel comfortable. This is for many of us, we have our own opinions on it. Again,
Correct.
I'm kind of staying out of that side, whether the vaccination works or doesn't. I'm not even talking about that. Let's face it, at the end of the day, 80% of Americans have received the first shot, with 70% receiving both shots already. Okay, so the majority of us are getting shot, by far.
Right.
What I'm talking about is the discernment, I guess, is the thought process of this whole thing that just says, and it's not just the trucking, it's anybody is, I don't get that one. I struggle driving today. Well, if you go somewhere else that's just a little bit smaller, you
safe.
won't have, you're okay. Does that make you safer? If you're working for a smaller company,
No.
Does it make your bubble stronger?
No.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? And you can prounce around that office without a mask on.
Yep.
And yet, if you are secure in your livelihood, you're secure in your job, you're secure with your family. You've worked your tail off, and you have the same beliefs. Just because you go work at a smaller company, you're not safe. You're not any more safe. And I'm struggling with that part right there. It just doesn't make sense. Hey, let's go to a quick break right now, and then when we come back, hey, we had a great interview yesterday with Dooner. With What the Truck, and we're going to hear just a little bit of that interview before we jump into Buckle Up, Bob. Hey, we'll go to a break, and then we'll come back in about 60 seconds with a little bit of our interview yesterday with Mr. Dooner. BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News over the UK, they have the Army personnel getting ready to start driving the fuel trucks. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
And most importantly, safety.
You can do many things to communicate that you are slowing down. You can flip your hazards on.
Expect craziness like this all the time. 75% of these fatal accidents involving these trucks are with the first two, and it's the driving too fast and tailgating. If this driver hadn't slowed down, this could have been a whole different outcome.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live. that had to help you just kind of tell your story because you did a phenomenal job. And I do think that one thing that what you do and even what we do here, it allows us to be a little bit more vulnerable. And, and I think our listeners love that when we can make ourselves vulnerable. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think especially in the medium of podcasting, because if you think about it, it's such an intimate thing. So many people are listening to you in their headphones while they're at the gym or they're walking their dog or they're grocery shopping. They're taking you with them along on errands and out to the store. And to me, when you're doing that, you want to form almost a different kind of relationship than I think the way that like your traditional TV news is created, which is a lot, So I think that really is fantastic. But the other thing that's really helped me is getting off the independent side and then getting hired to do this and being able to do it professionally. First, I was doing it as the director of marketing for a morning company. They're now called Freight Plus. I launched their show, Consulting Logistics, and I got to do that once a week. And that was good. But once I got to Freight Waves, I was able to basically do this stuff every single day and get those reps in nonstop with a bit of a safety net and a salary and those kind of things. And that's also an avenue I would recommend to a lot of podcasters out there who are who've kind of gotten past that first hurdle of getting some of the fundamentals down of doing it and really want to take it to the next level. Because nothing helps more than being able to sort of do it all the time.
Yeah. Do you find when you take this time and you jump out there and you do this, it just starts snowballing and more of the ideas just start falling down by the wayside and you got more and more you want to get done and it just kind of builds all this stuff up together?
It does. I'm very active on like Twitter and LinkedIn, social media. So I'm speaking to the community all the time and I'm hearing their stories and hearing their struggles. And that's actually where I source most of my guests is because someone posted something interesting and I thought that would be a great segment. It would bring value to our listeners. And also it would help me learn because I always consider myself a student, even though, I started out in operations in this business in 2005 before I even got into sales. So I have 13 years of experience before I really even started making money podcasting. And that's really helped form the narrative. But you bring up a great point too. Constantly speaking to people and speaking about these things and having to clearly tell people about these different issues, it really does help you form your own narrative. And then on my end, doing interviews on other shows other than my own also helps me sort of construct my own narrative. It's almost like coming up with your own sales pitch, right? The more you say it, the more comfortable you get with it, and the more you hear yourself back, the more natural and the easier it becomes.
Hey, Dooner, we've seen in some of the interviews you've done that we've done across, have you ever seen, say in the last 12 months, more technology, more companies come out all about technology than you've ever seen before, from autonomous vehicles to you name it, optimizers? Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave. It was a lot of fun yesterday talking to Dooner, somebody that obviously is a lot more experienced than what you and I bring to the table. Has a lot of fun doing what he does. It's good to hear, to surround yourself with folks like that, because at the end of the day, hey, Dooner, if you're watching right now, you are our mentor, even though Drive Safe Dave didn't know who you were. And he had to come clean yesterday on that.
I did have to come clean. I came clean in the interview. I thought Dooner was the clean-shaven guy.
Yes, we do our
not
research
the dude,
here.
Not the dude. I thought the dude was. I had him switched.
Yeah, we do our research here on BCB Live. Hey, Drive Safe Davey, it is time for that phrase that pays. I know this week we have a $200 is where we're starting out at. So, producer, let's find us a winner today to give away $200.
All right, Brian Thompson, can you give us that phrase that pays, sir? Brian Thompson, do you know that phrase that pays?
All right.
Going once.
You know what?
Going twice.
3 times a lady.
Strike out. Next
right.
batter.
Michael Jones, do you know that phrase that pays?
Mike Jones.
How about you, Mike? Come on, Bubba. $200. That's a lot of money. I mean, all you have to do is listen to anything, just the phrase that pays, and you win some cash. Cold, hot cash.
It's like
give me somebody else.
It's like 3% of the fine.
Jesse Swain, do you know that phrase that pays, sir? Jesse
How about
Swain.
you, Jesse? I have not heard from Jesse in a little while.
Come on, Jesse.
Sounds like we're going to have a $300 winner next week.
Yeah. Or opportunity.
Yeah, you know what? I believe the opportunity will be for next week. We're going to buzz everybody out of here. It'll be $300 next week. Drive safe, Dave. Give us that phrase that pays.
That phrase that pays is winter weather can make you a fool. Slow down and play it cool.
And drive safe. You know, we missed the point, I guess, earlier in the week. So tell us, what does that mean to the great Drive Safe Dave?
As we enter into the new adverse weather conditions that winter provides and gives to all of us out there on the road, when you come into them or when you approach them, make sure that you slow down. Don't let it make you a fool. Get out there, be careful, be mindful of the situation, and understand that slowing down is your best reaction in any of these situations.
Hey, play it cool. Hey. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News over the UK, they have the Army personnel getting ready to start driving the fuel truck. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
And most importantly, safety.
You can do many things to communicate that you are slowing down. You can flip your hazards on.
Expect craziness like this all the time.
75% of these fatal accidents involving these trucks are with the first two, and it's the driving too fast and tailgating. If this driver hadn't slowed down, this could have been a whole different outcome.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday of the safest station in the nation. I am Buckle Up Bob, and we're going to get you started off with some traffic around the country. The DFW area, if you're coming to that, looks pretty good this morning, honestly. There's a lot of spots, but they're all short and small. You're looking at 5, maybe 10-minute delays here and there around the Metroplex as you go, as you enter in this morning. I mean, Fort Worth looks good. Up and down the board, and then the Dallas area, you can see the loops look pretty good as you go around the DFW area this morning. So good. Hey, don't forget, still keep patient out there because you will run into some delays. Our Kansas City area, boy, it looks really great this morning. Again, not much going on, just maybe a couple minute slowdowns in certain areas, but all in all, if you're in the Kansas City area, your commute should be pretty event-free, hopefully, this morning. Chicago's looked good all week, and it even looks, believe it or not, I think it even looks better. I mean, even the inner city the inner highways don't look as bad as they have. You can see all the loops look pretty clear. A little bit of a slowdown here at New Lenox, and again down here southwest of Minooka, Illinois. But all in all, look, 90 looks good. 88 coming in looks good. There's a truck going down 294 loop. Looks pretty good. So again, make sure, let's see, I'm curious. Yeah, 64 miles an hour. So again, the traffic doesn't look bad. I don't know how to get rid of it now. So let's go to the next city. It's supposed to just go off like that. Wow, Philadelphia looks pretty good too. The New Jersey side looks great. Coming down here into south of Philly looks good. Darby Township looks pretty good. Turnpike always from King of Prussia down to the city looks a little congested, so you're going to have some slowdown there. That is typical every day. And as you come in on 95 down towards the city loop there around, you're going to along the river. You're going to see some 15 to 20-minute delays there near across the river from Palmyra and Cheltenham, just south of there. Atlanta, whoa. Is this a misprint, producer? Wow, Atlanta looks phenomenal considering how Atlanta usually looks. I mean, this looks great. The loop looks really clean. Just a little bit slow down up here by Sandy Springs, but you can see, and then down here by the airport, just a small, and then 20 coming into the city from the west into the loop a little bit. You know, you're looking at 5-minute delays here, folks. That's unheard of in Atlanta on a Friday morning commute. So, hey, be careful still. Don't let your guard down. But man, enjoy the Atlanta Loop this morning, folks. Nashville. Nashville looks pretty good. Again, we always have, it's not quite as long, but we have a little bit of a slowdown on the 24 coming up from the southeast. But all in all, Nashville looks pretty good. Your normal congestion points, 2440 merge there. And again, up here at 2465 merge points. But the loop looks pretty good all the way around here. 155 loop looks great all the way around. That may be one of your choices, as well as the 440 on the south looks clear this morning, as well as you come into Nashville. All right, are we going to get as lucky in Baltimore? Baltimore looks pretty good too. Again, just the normal slowdowns. You're looking at these 10-minute slowdowns. That's not bad for the city the size of Baltimore. As you come down into the D.C. area, D.C. doesn't look bad on a Friday morning either. Again, just a little bit here on the east side. You can expect some 15, 20-minute delays. And again, over here on Annandale to McLean, you could see some maybe a 10 to 15-minute slowdown there. But all in all, the loops look really good going around the D.C. area this morning. So what a great Friday for everybody as we go. So let's keep it going. Let's have that safest day out there, you know, one day at a time, 1 mile at a time. And you're going to get, the traffic seems to be cooperating. Let's see what the weather does. Again, weather looks great for the country with the exception of Florida here, folks. And this is going to linger. And I'll show you a little bit later in the wind gusts. But this is just going to sit there. There's a system here, and it's kind of spinning. And it's just going to spin along the coast for the next several days. So we'll show you how that's going to progress and where the snow starts to come in here in the northwest as well. So let's look at our wind. We've had a pretty good week with the wind. Again, Montana this morning, a little bit. And this afternoon, you can see not a lot of the 50 to high 40s. So there's going to be pockets. So you just got to be mindful of it. Slow it down when you feel that wind blowing. But all in all, it's going to be in the low 30s, upper 20 wind gusts. Very negotiable this morning as you start out. And you can see these winds down here on the Gulf side and the Atlantic side of Florida this morning, these wind gusts. And as we go through into Saturday, this is 10 a.m., you kind of see it still pushes through, and then it all gathers right here along the coast, and we'll show you the rain as we go also. There it is. So let me back this up a little bit so you can kind of see what you're going to hit if you're in the Florida area. There it is today. Around 1 p.m., you can see some really strong storms between Tampa and Jacksonville. Hopefully you can see that. And then as we push this out, go through the evening, here at 9 p.m., you can see it passes through Florida, but it's still hugging the coast a little bit. We get some really white areas, going to be really strong storms, but them are out at the sea a little bit. And then as we go into Saturday, you can see part of it moves out here, but it hugs the coast at Charleston. So the eastern seaboard, all the way up to Virginia Beach, you can see there's a chance of rain through Saturday. As we go into Sunday, again, it hits the Virginia Beach. North Carolina's going to see it. So you can see this is going to last for the next 48 to 72 hours. And as we watch, here comes the snow in on Sunday as well. It starts to creep in today. There you can see a little bit right on the Canadian border. Just a few flurries there in the upper elevations in Oregon. As we go into Saturday, some more. And then we get into Sunday, even a little bit more. As we go into our Monday, it starts to move into Wyoming. So you can see a little bit of a system coming in through there. By Monday, we should see some more snow into South Dakota, Salt Lake City, up through Wyoming as well. So that's our we do have some fog. I want to kind of, you know, one of the things I've seen a little bit this morning, it wasn't bad in the area, but you could see the fog. And I also noticed it was the coldest morning. I mean, my car said 37 degrees in spots. I think the airport officially reported 41. So when we get these temperature changes, we seem to see a lot of the fog. So right now, not much showing up on there. So we just kind of want to get everybody to watch it. Make sure that you pay attention to fog. If you're out there driving, raise your hand and tune into us and let us know if you're running into some fog so we can share that with all drivers out on the highways. All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with some safety.
This is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
While you're on duty driving, you have to stay focused in that moment, in that time. If you need a time, if you need a second, or if you need a break, pull over. Jump out, get that Pepsi, that hot dog. Do what you gotta do to relax for a second.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Your host of BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. If you don't already know about Freight and Review, it's a segment I cover once a week where I analyze freight rejections, freight tenders, driver productivity, and much, much more. You can watch Freight and Review on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live. Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Sir Rick, Drive Safe Dave, and Buckle Up Bob. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, I just want to make a formal apology yesterday to the way I acted. It was uncalled for. It was rude. You shocked me, though, I'll just tell you. But today, I like your look. And who you are, I still liked yesterday. I just didn't like what I saw. But I do apologize if that makes any sense at all.
Well, you did hurt my feelings. I went and I cried in my office for a little bit because I felt like, you were making fun of my weight and you were making fun of my...
No, it had nothing to do with the weight.
Yeah,
it was purely your clothing.
Yeah, I know, but it came across. My feelings were damaged. I did talk. I did have a group hug, and then I did move on, and I think I'm a much better person today.
I will say this. Normally, Drive Safe Dave and I get a chance to kind of grade him and look at him, get him his appearance, and fix some things before the show. Yesterday, I just didn't get that opportunity. And when I saw you on the show, and I was going into like my home run hit, right? I was going to my truck, and I turned around, I was making a point, and I saw you, and I was like, I didn't know if you did that on purpose with some intentionality behind me to get a reaction. But
I did put on clothes on purpose. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I did put clothes on purpose. It wasn't. I didn't actually fall into those clothes. I actually wore them.
Gotcha. So you did that intentionally.
I did that intentionally.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't. So I liked it better the other way. Thinking maybe it was a pure accident. Hey, Buckle Up Bob, as we run into the weekend, what are we going to talk safety-wise today?
We're going to talk about probably one of the most important statistics, and that is unsafe driving and crash indicator. They are two separate categories, but kind of wanted to save it for the Friday and just let everybody know on the crash indicator, that is a DOT reportables. And what happens with those is anytime any vehicle is towed for any reason or anyone is transported for medical reasons, then it becomes a DOT reportable accident. Carriers out there, if it can be prevented, there is a list of challengeable crashes. You need to challenge those crashes to get them off of your scores. And then also remind drivers that, hey, one of the things that you should do also is if you're cited, it is mandated, it's law to actually you have to get post-accident tested. But it's a good idea for you carriers out there that any DOT reportable that involves another human being involved, then you absolutely should get the testing done just as a safeguard for yourselves to kind of help in any kind of litigation that may or may not. Remember, you may not see any litigation for a year or longer sometimes till the statute runs out, but you can actually be sued 6-8 months later from this accident. So make sure that you challenge them, you stay on top of it, and then, again, protect yourself. Go ahead and get them that post-accident test. If it involves another human, it kind of is a good rule to just do that. There are DOT reportables that involve animals. I'm not sure you have to do it there, but as long as nobody was towed or nobody was cited, you're not required to, but it's a good idea to protect yourself. The unsafe driving is something we talk a lot about here on the safest station in the nation. And what it is it involves just about every moving violation there is. Lane changes. We've seen things from not having your warning lights on, going through a construction zone or a traffic area when they're required to put your hazards on. Improper lane changes, tailgating, improper lane usage, right? Lane restrictions, speeding, of course. But all those moving violations, failure to obey traffic devices, all hit into the unsafe driving category. So make sure that you focus on those. And as you can see, we show the videos, and we're going to see some today where you can use that to help yourself protect life. Remember, everything's about protecting lives. So when you slow down, if you're driving 5-10 miles under the speed limit, you can't get to speeding, right? If you move over for emergency vehicles, you can't get written up. So it's very much 100% controllable, most of these violations that you get. And it does protect life.
You know, and you talk about unsafe driving, and there are ways in which you can get it. You can be cited for unsafe driving, and I'll tell you one of the few ways that I've seen it is we talked about going into the wintertime. Drivers that slide off the road, not involved in an accident with anybody else, but let's say they slide off the road because of the weather conditions, they can be cited for unsafe driving because they're going too fast for the conditions that allow. And you can actually be cited for that, and that's a big hit on your on your score, and you've got to be mindful of that. And what we're talking about is we did that in our Phrase It Pays, and slow down in those situations, because that unsafe driving is a big thing on your deal. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about being safe all the time when you're in the safest station.
Yeah, and these two categories, they have one other thing that's different from all the other categories. They have a lower threshold. You have a 65% that you're measured against. Right. So it's a little bit more stricter and more serious. As you can see, they put a little bit more weight on the crash and DOT reportables and the unsafe driving category. All the other ones have an 80%. You have to be under that to keep the DOT out of mandating certain restrictions on your company. But in the unsafe driving and the DOT reportables, it is 65%. So you've got to make sure you look at those, challenge them, whenever you can, and try to get them off, because it does work. We've been successful at challenging some. So carriers out there, I encourage you to look at that score, look at them reports every day, and see what you can and cannot challenge. We got some videos, a lot of videos today, and some really good ones here. Again, great job by this driver. You can see what's going to happen here, and it's going to be tailgating by other trucks. Look at that, 40, 50 feet tops, and at 69 miles an hour. There is no out, right, for either one of those trucks. And so this driver backs off, tries to create as much space as he or she can. Good job there.
Yeah, and for other drivers that are new to BCB Live, you're watching the videos. Why we show these are so we can learn from, mistakes, not only mistakes that we make, but not only from things that we do right, but to learn from others as well. When we see this video here, we see the Panther truck coming behind. This driver is way too close. It's not even one white line behind. This is an accident ready to happen. Something happens right now, bam! There's an accident and something bad will happen.
He can't see.
He can't see anything what's going on in front of him. He doesn't know that a car is getting ready to hop in front. He doesn't see anything. Drive safe. Great point on that. He's got a billboard in front of him, correct, and yet we're still tailgating. You have to back up. You've got to increase your space, which may cause you to reduce your speed.
Absolutely will. And again, here, you got to be ready for all. You're coming into a construction zone. The orange cones start to show up. Driver stays in the lane. Great job. The speed limit was 60 there. And then watch what this OV does.
Boy, you just knew that was happening.
Yes. And then again, remember what you can learn from it. Again, this is not this driver's fault. But when you keep your head on a swivel, look at them side view mirrors, right? And it may, as it turns out, what you don't see here, and it's hard to explain, but there seems to be a quick lane change there because of that OV. So you got to be ready for that kind of stuff so that you don't, if there had been a car there, what else did you have to do? So remember, slow the speed down. I believe this was around 63, 64 miles an hour. The speed limit is 60. Plus you got construction. So we always talk a lot. Whatever you think the safe speed is, probably 5 or 10 more miles lower than that is probably the really safe speed to be at. But again, you got to watch for the idiots out there, and you got to prepare for them. Again, what do you think is going to happen here? Drive safe. There's Drive Safe Dave. That is his truck. I don't think it was him driving, though. Was it?
That was not me.
Okay. Now, 3 lanes, man, and then barely made it. Great job by this driver, keeping the space. And what you don't see here is there was a pretty quick speed reduction to allow that to happen and not cause an accident.
And not a turn indicator 1 comes on this white truck. Not one. Nothing that's, not only am I going to cross 3 lanes, very unsafe, and I got a big truck in the middle of me that I really can't see what's to the right of him. I'm not even going to inform anybody. I'm just going to go. Yeah. Unreal. And unreal the challenge that you face out there.
Here you got merge points. You see the exits, the entrances coming up, a merge coming in from the left. And so, again, this is tailgating, right? Then you're going to get over into a even worse situation. You got the concrete barrier. There's no out to the right. There's traffic on the left. You've got to just slow down and back off here. Increase that space. Nice job here. You know, again, maybe slow down a little bit sooner, but really great job. You can see traffic just waiting to dart out there. This driver is able to stop. Everybody stop, and you can still see the road in front of you. Great, great job there, everybody. That is kind of one of the keys on BCB Live we like to see is when you know that there's not really a good chance of any accident in front of you, when you can stop and still see the pavement between you and the car in front, the vehicle in front of you. So great job by this driver. Here again, you know, another good job, just backing off as traffic comes. You know, it's coming from everywhere. People are merging, so you just allowing them to get in. Still see the pavement. You can see everybody flying to the left, staying in the lane. Just not a whole lot of chances for anything to happen.
And Bob, when we see these vehicles to the left 2 lanes of where the video is being taken from, what we've remembered and what we've heard in the past is that one out of every, 5 or 6 of these cars in front of our vehicle right now is probably going to hop in front of you. It's going to take the time to say, you know what? It's moving quicker in the left lane. Let me get out of this, and I'm going to pop out in front of you. So if you catch yourself in one of those 2 left lanes where that car hauler's going right now, you still have to be ready for somebody to hop out in front of you because it's a stat that says somebody in the next 5 or 6 cars will hop out in front of you. Be aware of that as well.
Yes. Again, another great job here. You know, just courtesy, keeping that space, going to let that truck in. What it's hard to see in this view, but you can see is there's flashing lights up ahead in that traffic line. There you start to see them. Great job by just keeping a space, being courteous and realizing clearly this driver, what do we like to say? Packed his or her patience, right? They know they're not going anywhere. Let somebody else in so that there's no issues coming up. Truck's got a blinker on. Love that truck too. Kind of waits, even though the blinker's on, doesn't just jump into that space right away. So great courtesy by everybody. And this is how, you know, we talk a lot when drivers say they can't affect the traffic around them. That is not true all the time. In fact, a lot of times you can. And I think this was one that demonstrated that. By slowing down and keeping that space, it let people behind them know this truck going a little fast, but it kind of starts to check up pretty quick and then doesn't make the quick lane change.
Yeah, this is great communication on both parts by both drivers. I'd like to think that they even had said something on the CB.
Probably.
Great job.
Here again, rain intersections, keeping them safe. Great job here. Being prepared to stop. The light's going to change. It's yellow now, and so the vehicle's able to stop in a wet, dangerous intersection. You can see traffic still flying around you all different directions. And man, this is one of those that just seen how chaotic it can be at an intersection when you got a lot of busyness going on from all different directions. You got some guy there making a U-turn, I believe it looked like, from the lane as well. So just a lot going on. Great job by this driver at keeping that intersection safe. And here, you know, you got a curve coming up. Great job at slowing down. You know, remember, we've been talking about wind for the past few weeks. This week, not so much. But great job. Look at the speed control here just to take this sharp curve. The road's even rough, right? This is easy to lose some traction and control if you take it too fast just because of the road conditions don't look that great as well. So great job again by this driver. Speed is critical in everything that you do out there. You drivers, carriers, you've got to get people to slow down, right? There's nothing that says you have to do the speed limit. There's nothing that says you have to do over the speed limit. Just control the speed and the people around you as best you can.
You know, it looked like some of that somebody had not taken that at a very slow speed. That's why all the cones were there. There had been damage to the rail and to the guarding around. And it looked like there was tracks going straight on that curve too, where somebody else is just, I'm going. I've gone all the way through. Can't make the curve. But you know what? You should enter into your inertia is going to push you in the direction of travel. Newton's first law. And you got to make sure that you understand that as you make those curves, you've got to go into them slower. And as you come out of them, you can speed up. But do not go into them and be in a great rate of speed because that load can shift and you will roll.
and Olivia Newton-John, also a great, great actress and singer. Producer, who do we have?
We have Bill Criddle on the line. What do you got for us, sir?
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, guys. How y'all?
What's going on, Bill?
Guys, I run across a situation last week. I tried to send pictures up to the office, but I couldn't. I don't know how. But I was in graphic packaging in Monroe, Louisiana, and I had hooked up and was headed out the gate. And the yard driver has chased me down in the yard truck. He said, and he asked me, said, did you know who may have dropped this trailer here? I said, no, I have no idea. He said, would you please come look? And I went and looked, and they had hauled, I guess we haul old newspapers or something. It hadn't been swept out, and it was about ankle deep from the front to the back. We need to start cleaning these trailers out. You know, I know everybody's guilty of it, but that was terrible. And I apologized to him. I even offered to sweep it out for him and do all that. He said, no, I'm going to take care of it, but you need to let your company know don't bring another trailer in here like this. I said, well, we don't normally do that. That's not our company. You know, it's just a lazy driver that's done this. And but we need to stress that a good bit, cleaning these trailers out before we drop them.
Great point. Phenomenal point. And again, it's that image that we have to protect within our industry, especially when it affects one of our own as well. And leaving a mess for somebody else, leaving a tire for somebody else to fix, a trailer for somebody else to fix at all, that's not what we need. We want to encourage each and every one of you, when you find that, hey, take a picture of that, write it down, send a message up to, and I'm going to say, send to the operations, maybe even include your safety person on that email. And if you're sitting in a dispatch office right now and you're wondering, what am I going to do with that? Take action. Do something. Don't allow it to happen, because here's what I say. Probably, again, the driver that may have dropped that trailer like that is probably the same driver that's not very safe on the road. It's probably the safe driver that's not turning in his logs or not turning in his paperwork. It's probably the same driver that you can't get a hold of. It's probably the same driver. Address the issues one at a time, because if a driver truly loves his or her profession, if they believe in pre-trip, post-trip, if they believe in sweeping out a trailer like most of you do out there, well, they're going to do it as well. If they're leaving that work for somebody else, then they're also the same folks that's probably leaving a trailer for somebody else to fix. Hey, have the courage to do the right thing always. And let me tell you something as well. You owe it to our industry to make a phone call in. And if you receive that phone call, you owe it to our industry and to your company to take action on that. You've got to do it. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that you do. Watch over our drivers. Watch over this country. Give us all that ability to always do the right thing. And we love you and we thank you, and we always ask for your blessing. We ask you to watch us and keep us safe on these roads. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. Everybody, we'll see you this afternoon on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.